I converted a Tuff shed storage unit into a functioning home recording studio. And in this video, I'm gonna kind of walk you through exactly how I did it in case you're ever interested in doing something like this yourself. See, when my son was born, life changed on me really fast. Things got a lot more crazy, things got a lot more hectic, and I ran out of space in my house, causing me to take all of my gear and having to put it in storage because my son needed a room. For a long time, I thought, well, how am I going to basically still play music if I don't have a room to do so? So I decided to hire Tuff Shed to build a shed as big as I could possibly afford in order to convert it into basically another room. Now, just to be completely transparent, this was an expensive endeavor and I had a total budget of $20,000, which I absolutely failed at. And there were some mistakes that I made along the way. So I hope to share those with you so that you hopefully don't make the same mistakes as me if you ever wanted to build a home studio yourself. But overall, I think that this project came out really well. Now, on to the build. So the first thing I needed to do was have the concrete poured. Two guys showed up and they dug out 4 feet down up around the perimeter of the concrete. So it is day 2 of them working on the foundation. They're laying the concrete. Let me go ahead and flip this around so you can see what I'm seeing. They have finished digging it, and good Lord, that must have been really insane. You can see they've laid down the rebar cage here, and they've reinforced it and even put this like plastic bit over it. Pretty cool how they do this. I've always wondered how they would do that. Let me come around here. I would say the quality of the work is so far seemingly really good. It seems like they put a lot of work on this. They did all of this in 2 days, just 2 different guys. I wonder if I'll have to move these giant piles of dirt afterwards though. It was the dead of summer. It was like late May, early June when they started digging, and it was so freaking hot out here, and they had to do 260 square feet digging down because I had to have these massive concrete anchors put in the corners of this place so that it's really structurally well built in case there's ever any more hurricanes or any big storms. Like, this thing is built like a tank. It's not going anywhere, and for that I give Tuff Shed a huge thumbs up on that. So they did that. They lay the concrete, they wiped down the concrete, and it has to cure for 2 weeks. The whole cost of laying the concrete was about $6,000. I wasn't gonna do the concrete myself. It's just not something that I know how to do, nor do I have the truck or the capability to do any of that. 2 weeks later, truck shows up and they back up what looks like my shed just in a bunch of like modular pieces kind of laid out. Two guys just came and backed it up into my backyard. It was pretty awesome. They started to build it. They got it halfway built in 1 day and then finished the roof and some of the other stuff like the door the next day. The total cost on the whole thing was $18,900. That's including the concrete. So now we have a structure done and it's time to get building. It's at this point in the video that I want to thank a couple of people big time, but especially my #1 biggest thank you ever is to my father-in-law, Jason, for helping me do almost this whole job pretty much from here on out. My father-in-law is an awesome electrician, but he's so much more than that. He's an excellent handyman, knowledgeable, smart, super fun to hang around with. But he took maybe would have been a $50,000 or $60,000 job where I had to hire a bunch of people to do this. We were able to get the whole thing done for another like $6,000, $7,000. Jason, if you're watching this video, man, thank you so much for everything. I am forever grateful, and I'm going to pay it forward just like you paid it forward to me. Thank you so much. The first thing that you want to do when building a studio is the electrical. And you want it to be good electrical. You want it properly grounded, and you want it to not be super noisy, right? If you have grounding issues, you're gonna have a 60 cycle hum, which is not good for recording. We basically installed a whole new breaker box on the side of my house that is dedicated for this room. From there, we had to dig a 40-foot trench, 16 inches deep, to get it up to code in the heat of early July or June because it had taken that long. By the way, the process started in January. That's how long this has been already. We were able to dig all the way through, get that finished, and at this point, we take PVC pipe and we lay the pipe down through and we cover the hole back up. And I even have a marker in the yard where you can see where we had the PVC pipe coming up so I know where to dig from. The next thing we did is we separately went inside of the studio here and we began to add all of the wiring that needed to be done that's going to be hidden behind the walls. It's on 2 circuits, so I have 2 sets of lights, one here and one here. So 2 wires needed to be ran all the way around the room, and by doing this we just drilled holes through the top, stapled the wires all the way through, so it's really neat, and then it was on to insulation. When choosing insulation, for a long time I was looking at Rockwool insulation, which is great for audio and sound, but not the best for thermal reduction, which here in Florida is extremely important because it gets so hot. We didn't want it to be super muggy and humid in here, but we also didn't want it to be super loud, which we did a really good job of finding a happy medium in both. Like I said, there was a hurricane at the end of last year that just destroyed so many homes, and so there's been a mass shortage of Owens insulation, which is what I was looking for. Some big, thick insulation and bats. We wanted to do faced bats. If you do a faced bat, when you put it in the wall, it's a lot easier to put it in and just staple it to the studs. Ended up with going with some R13 insulation in the walls and not Rockwool insulation because it's better on a thermal value, and it still reduced the audio transference quite a bit. I think that Rockwool has a little bit of more of a decibel reduction, but not that much to justify A, the price, because Rockwool is extremely expensive, and B, the fact that it's not as good for thermal value for the Rockwool that I had chose to do. We were able to staple all of that in, which is a real nasty job. I don't know if you've ever done insulation, but make sure that you wear eye protection, a mask, and gloves. I'm getting this wall done with the insulation. Cutting them out around the electrical outlets here. It's hot, man. We still got that whole wall to go. Of course, the first day I didn't do it and I really messed myself up, probably inhaling all that stuff, probably seriously taking off some years of my life and getting it in my eyes, and terrible. But you learn a lesson. This whole thing was an extreme learning process for me. Was able to put all that stuff up, and then in the ceiling, which is a pitched roof, because I did pay Tuff Shed a little bit extra to do 1 foot extra higher, 9-foot walls here and a pitched ceiling, so that we're able to fill that up with R32 insulation, big, huge, thick bats, which was also kind of a pain in the ass, but we were able to get that in and staple it all in. And from there, the wiring that was done in the walls was all hidden and looked really nice. All right, quick little video update. So, put R13 on all of the walls, and it's getting hotter as we do it because, you know, the insulation's doing its job, but we put R38 in the ceiling and the attic space here, and it is getting insulated. We're almost done, and by doing faced, it was a lot easier to do. Faced means it's got this paper on the front, so we're not just like straight up touching the insulation. And then it goes in, and hopefully we finish the insulation today, and we can move on to drywall next. And you can see how hot it is. I'm dying sweating, and I'm putting myself on the internet looking like this. The biggest takeaway I can give you is you don't necessarily need to use Rockwool for the inside the wall insulation, but it is really, really efficient for sound treatment inside of the room. Okay, here's the last update. Just finished all of the insulation in here. Every square foot, even the annoying little tiny parts that you see right above me right here. Sorry, camera's shaking. My hands are shaking. It's really, really hot. But it is all done. Everything is insulated. And now we can move along to the next step. And I gotta say, like, it's really hot outside. It's gotta be like 95 to 100 degrees outside right now. But as soon as we have put this insulation up, I feel like it's helped a little bit, or at least with, it's still hot, right? We don't have AC, but it could just be a mental block, but I feel like it's a little bit cooler. So there is that. Let me show you what it looks like now. Next step, drywall. All in all, the insulation was quite expensive, actually, totaling to about $1,000 in cost. Expensive, but we were able to get it done. And without any drywall in here, it sounded really freaking quiet. Too quiet. Next came drywall, the absolute bane of my existence. I freaking hate you, drywall. Good morning, everybody. Quick morning update. I'm wearing my Drinking with Drew t-shirt but we went and just picked up a bunch of drywall, and we're gonna start the drywall process today. It's kind of a bitch. The thing barely fit in the back of my truck. I had to have my father-in-law like sit on them as I drove back home to make sure they didn't fall out, because, you know, my truck's not huge. And now that they're here, the first thing we're gonna do is the ceiling. So back to Home Depot again, because I gotta rent a drywall hoist. If you have never seen one of these before, this is a drywall hoist, which allows us to move the drywall up and basically reel it up using this wheel right here. And it's because these are really heavy and we don't want to hurt ourselves, so we're just basically lifting this thing up. And then we have this tool here that my buddy let me borrow. Thank you so much, Garen. This is a drywall screw gun, basically a drywall gun, and just allows us to go right up into the ceiling right there. And this hoist is gonna make it so much easier for us. Hey, Kelly girl. Thanks for the help. Okay, phone update after the drywall of the ceiling. We finished all of the ceiling today, and it looks good. There's a couple spots that, you know, we're gonna have to mud and do all that. We're gonna do the mudding after we finish the walls, which are gonna be next week. Here is what it looks like. Broke out the electrical boxes. So yeah, looks pretty good. Pretty excited. Gonna call it quits for now, and we're gonna work on some more drywall next weekend. And we're getting really close to the end of the line here, because once the drywall goes up, then we can do the mudding of the drywall, give it some texture. Then we can do the flooring, we can do the AC. That's it. It's at this point that I just really got to commend Jason, because I was only able to work on this on Sundays. I have a full-time job working at a guitar shop, and Sunday is the only free day I have. And now with a baby, that's taking up a lot of my time too. But Jason came here and really just sanded a lot when I'm not here, a lot of the mudding, and just took off a lot of the time. And just thank you so much. That helps so much, because the sanding process is a pain in the ass. I think we ended up using about 20 sheets of drywall, but once we were able to measure it properly, we were able to get it looking pretty dang good. And once we put the drywall back up, it added a little bit of the reflections back. In fact, a little bit too much reflections, because we're gonna need to treat the room later. I think I had counted 1,080 something screws that we actually put into the drywall. None of these freaking pieces are coming down. It was also at this point, when we were mudding and covering all the screws, that I probably used way too much mud, because this is the first time that I've ever done this. Now, if you don't know, when you use mud, you have to sand it down so that your walls come out smooth and easy. When you're sanding like this up on a ladder, your upper body starts to like get really worn out, especially in a room in Florida and July heat where it's 100 degrees in here. We are absolutely dripping sweat. Poor Jason is coming here on some days that I'm not even here and working on it, and eventually we are able to get it done. Here is the finished drywalling. So it's all mudded, all sanded. It's looking pretty good. Ceiling is all done. The only thing now, because there was a lot of sanding, here is the aftermath on the ground. A ton of mud dust, right? So before we can do really anything else, before we can do painting or any of that, I'm gonna go ahead and sweep this all out. And this is gonna take a little while. So this is what I look like after sanding. I didn't even realize that I looked like this. I just came in here to use the restroom, and I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, it's time to go to Home Depot looking like this. Alas, we were finally able to get all the drywall up and looking absolutely great. The drywall ended up being about $600, because there's a couple of times where we miscut or I broke a piece and we had to go back and redo it, unfortunately. So that was kind of a pain in the butt. Make sure you measure twice, cut once if possible. The next part of the process was the painting process. In order to make the paint stick, you have to use a primer. So that I primed the whole thing, including the ceiling and including the walls. Okay, so finally finished painting the primer on the walls and even on the ceiling here. And so the next thing that we're gonna do, some people might say, oh, you want to go ahead and do your next coat of paint, but we're actually gonna do the mini split, which we got the Mr. Cool DIY mini split, and that's what we're gonna be putting in here right now. One of the last things that I needed to do was put in a mini split system. I got a couple of quotes from a couple AC companies and they wanted to charge me $4,000 to put one in here. I went on Amazon and I ended up ordering this Mr. Cool DIY mini split. I am pretty stoked right now because we just got this mini split working, and honestly it's working great. It's only been on for like 15 minutes and it's cold in here already, and it's so hot outside too. It's like 90 degrees outside, so I thought it was gonna take a while for this place to cool down, but it's only been about 15 minutes, and have it set at 60 just to cool this sucker down and see how quickly we can cool it down, and it did a great job. So the brand I'm using here is Mr. Cool. We just did a DIY, wired it up. It was kind of a pain in the ass, but not too bad. All things considered, honestly, the drywall was way worse, and I am very happy right now because with that being done, that means that I see the light at the end of the tunnel. The studio should be done hopefully next weekend or the weekend after that, because all we have to do is finish the outlets in the wall. I have to paint it, which I'm gonna do tomorrow on my day off, do the flooring, which we're gonna do next weekend, and the lights. And so that's it. But the overall humidity, it reads in here from anywhere from 45 to 55%, depending on how cold I have it running or how hot I have it running. And so that is ideal, actually better than I had it in my previous room. Yep. It's nighttime. I don't have lights in here yet, but it's a good time to paint as any. Let's get to it. And then I decided to go with this kind of sandy, orangish color, which I think looks really cool. It makes the room look very mature. You can kind of see it behind me. It looks really good. It just kind of pops. I have a lot of dark furniture in here, and it just kind of gives it a matured look. I had to do a couple coats of that, and then we painted the ceiling just a hard white, and it looks absolutely great. Total budget for painting was about $200. Next came the flooring. I decided to go with a wood look vinyl floor, and I think it came out absolutely fantastic. Looks really good, and I decided to go with the biggest planks that I could absolutely find, because that means less flooring that I have to do, and it's just easier to put it in. The flooring was one of the most expensive parts of this whole thing, totaling about $1,600 for the planks that I needed to get. From here, I added a security system as well as an alarm system here, and then I was able to add some sound treatment into here. Last thing I needed to do was the baseboards, cut them at the right angles, staple them all in, and the room came out looking like this. There's still a couple things that I need to add because it's a home studio, but it's really just my jam space studio, and I am so happy now I'm back into shooting videos, hopefully back into giving guitar lessons and just all guitar content. I couldn't be happier with the way that this turned out. All in all, total budget was about $26,000. So if you want to do something like this, keep in mind, you know, it definitely is going to take a little bit of money. So I converted this whole thing into a functioning studio that came out pretty pro. I'm going to be able to record records here. I'm looking forward to adding a couple of things too. A couple other things that I need to do. Cloud for the audio, and hopefully that comes really soon. And I'd like to get a drum kit here in the corner. If you guys have a recommendation on a drum kit, please let me know. I might go acoustic, or I might end up going electric, going all out, saving up for like a Roland TD-50 or something and having a lifetime electronic drum kit. I'm interested to know what you guys think. But overall, I'm super happy to be back. If you have any questions or wanting to do something like this yourself, I would love to hear your stories, and I can't wait to now like share what I've done, because overall I think it came out really, really good. I'm really interested to see what you guys think. I'm really happy to be back to recording here on Riff with Cliff channel. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about the process of building your own home studio, I would love to help you out or answer some questions that you may have. This is exactly how I did it, and I hope that it might help one of you one day. And if you're thinking about doing it, absolutely do it. It was a life experience, something I'll never forget. Big, huge thank you to Jason again, and I learned a lot through this whole process. Would I do it again? Yeah.